I have such good conversations with people at conferences, and I wanted to bring like a little bit of that to a podcast. 'Cause most of them are like they're like they're a little mid curve, you know? They're
Like I've
like
never laughed at
high takes.
I've never laughed on a crypto podcast.
I've
Yeah.
never laughed on a crypto podcast.
It's true. The
Wait,
reason why I listen to crypto podcasts though is because it's always like shilling your bag, right? Like it's always you miss like the human element of what we're building.
This is what we want.
Yeah.
This is what we want. We wanted to bring a little bit more humanity to crypto because people are either shilling their bags or explaining some technical shit that like 5 people care about. And we're like, there's real people that are doing real things.
We bobbing on the cryptocurrency, chilling fine. Blockchains will not like smooth design.
Hello and welcome back to Cryptocurrents, where we interview and discuss the most interesting projects, people, and events happening in Web3. We're your hosts, Brett Lindstrom and Jacq Vaca, the founders of Fish and Chips, a full-service crypto and AI agency delivering compelling design, branding, messaging, and community support for the whole of Web3. Before we get started, please remember to smash that subscribe and join us in the chat. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps us out a ton. Today, we have a really awesome guest, Katya Ternopolska from Wormhole, and she's the head of growth. So we got a big dog on the show. We're ready to go. We got great questions. Let's go. Dude, Katya, but in all seriousness, enough with like the crazy intro. Dude, thank you so much for joining the show. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're super excited to dig into Wormhole. So, Jacq, you want to kick it off? Katya, do you want to guys talk about how you met or anything like that?
Wait, can I share about our moment at the offsite when we like met in person?
Please.
At Polygon. So Katya and I met at Polygon, and the whole team was on this offsite, and we all went to go like snorkel with sea turtles and stuff. This like bonding moment. It was really cute.
That's awesome.
But we were all on a catamaran, and nobody wanted to be on the like net part of it except for me and Katya, and we were just like having a great time, bouncing up and down and getting like intermittently splashed in our face.
Fully soaked by the end of it.
Fully soaked. Everyone else is like drying off because it's like towards the end of the day, and we're like, and I feel like that's like how we approach crypto.
Yeah.
Just bouncing
The wind's
right in the
blowing in
waves,
our
getting
hair.
smashed in the face. Yeah.
We're a
I'm a little scared, but it's fun, you know.
Yeah. That's really good.
Totally.
Analogy.
Yeah. So yeah, you were DeFi BD, and I don't think we ever really got into like how you even found DeFi in the first place. What's your story about getting into this space in general?
She calls you the queen of DeFi, by the way. So
Wow.
you better come
I did secretly call you the queen of
Whoa,
DeFi.
okay,
I was like,
that's
You
very
did, you really
generous.
did.
For somebody who's worked in DeFi almost my entire career, like I'm pretty risk averse. You see so much stuff, you see so many people get hacked, you see so many people lose money. You're just like, damn, I love having money and I love keeping it somewhere safe that I can, you know, trust that it's going to be there when I wake up in the morning. I think people who are like notoriously on DeFi though, and like really ripping it on all of these like DeFi primitives, I have a lot of respect for you all. I'm also scared of you and your blood pressure. Go see a doctor. Like I can't live with that
Totally.
level
Oh
of
my
stress
God.
at all.
Facts.
But I started working in like a more tame like section of the DeFi space. So I was in university. I was working with a ton of blockchain projects through an accelerator program. Spoke to a ton of people who were building on chain in different ways. A lot of them were just thinking about using it as like a ledger or in like more enterprise types of contexts. But one of the teams I started speaking with, and you know, the team that really got me into this space was a team called Maple Finance. They're doing institutional grade loans on chain.
Cool.
Yeah, maybe you've known them. They've had incredible success over the last like 5 years. And when I got to meet Sid and Joe, they were just starting off. They were still trying to find product market fit, assessing what types of loans and how they wanted to be doing KYC and what needed to live on chain and what, you know, had to continue to exist off chain. Sid, you know, brought me on board. I didn't know what crypto was. I had no idea what Bitcoin was. He was like, buy $50 of ETH and then like play with all the major primitives. He was like, touch synthetics, like play around with Aave, Uniswap. He was like, just get familiar. If you lose it, you lose it, you know, like shit happens. But that was like my first big foray into it. And I thought it was pretty neat. I was going to school for finance. I hated the traditional finance culture. I thought it was super lame. I mean, like my university turns out investment bankers, and I think that that's really cool for some people. If that's what you love, hell yeah. I just didn't think that that was necessarily the path that was right for me.
Yeah.
But then I graduated, I started full time with them and kind of went down the rabbit hole. Honestly, conferences for me were the best way for me to get out of like this institutional lending niche and get to know what other people were building and have that human element to DeFi that I think is really tough to get to know just through like the virtual space, like through crypto Twitter. So built out my network at conferences and started going down the rabbit hole from there.
That's
Amazing.
incredible. I feel like a lot of people from TradFi, once they get a little taste of the crypto world, then they're like, whoa, wait, this is actually more fun, especially like ripe age, like right out of university. You're so young and you're so full of ideas and you're so full of like gusto. And to sit behind a trad desk and work in trad finance after a taste of crypto, I feel like that's not going to work. That's not going to work at all.
And you also see the inefficiencies, right?
You're right. You're absolutely right. There are a ton of inefficiencies, and crypto addresses that. And again, when you're this young, impressionable university kid, you have these eyes wide open towards the future, and you see, wait, it doesn't have to be like this. We don't have to follow the footsteps of the people before. We can like trailblaze to the future.
Yeah, 100%. And it's also one of those things when when you're a new grad, you have no money, you have no credit score. Like you're coming out of it being like, oh damn, like how do I even build credit? Like I don't even know what this whole like ancient system is and how to operate within it. I can just go on Aave and take out a loan, right? Like it's going to be over collateralized. It's going to look a little bit different, but like this is a space and an opportunity for people to continue to iterate on it and start to move towards, under collateralized loans on chain credit scoring, kind of rebuilding all of these historic systems that honestly just don't serve today's society.
That's why I think DeFi for all was originally like such a big piece of why I wanted to get my funds on chain and like explore this and make money on this in this new world. Because DeFi for all, for me, not just opened it up for younger generation of people that like maybe had no idea or they could get their hands on these assets or whatever without credit scores and all of that stuff. But also DeFi for all, for me personally, is exciting for sectors like nonprofit, like Latin America. Latin America, let me just take a moment to talk about Latin America because my family comes from Mexico and there's no mobile banking apps at all, like pretty much at all. And so like with remittance payments and things like that, it's really exciting to see crypto start to enter the space, especially for like these micropayments because they're completely circumventing the traditional banking sector by having a mobile app. So if you have a mobile app in Latin America, you are ahead of the game, especially for remittances, because that doesn't exist. Like the banking system in Latin America is so antiquated and old. There are barely any mobile apps. So that's one way that I thought like crypto and DeFi is really exciting. But I wanted to talk about what DeFi for all kind of means to you. What does that mean for you? How would you love to see that play out more broadly?
Yeah, this is a great question and definitely something that's really like close to my heart. I was born in Ukraine. We immigrated when I was like a couple years old to Canada. Spent the next 10 years trying to establish residency in the US. I'm now a citizen, but it took us like 25 years to be able to get to this point. And so it's like if you come from a place where there really is no great banking rails, there's no great like financial infrastructure, you might be like your best hopes of creating generational wealth is just by saving. You're putting money aside, you're putting it under your mattress, and that's as much as you can really do. There's no concept of like earning interest on your money. There's no like alternative investments for you to get involved in. Like you can just start to save like a couple bucks if you can afford it. But you're not making that money work for you. And you take into consideration inflation and how volatile everything has been. Well, God forbid you hit a recession. Now you've got to dip into those savings, right? It's, you're kind of ending up like most people live paycheck to paycheck, abroad and in this country as well. And so part of like what I love about DeFi is the accessibility of yield and the opportunity for people to start to think about finance is not something that's, totally only for rich people to like profit off of, but something that's really accessible and a tool that everybody should have access to start to be able to take care of themselves and their families. So it's definitely very, very personal for me. It's pretty sick, like being able to earn yield on your money. Like historically, it's like, you know, you'd have to be an accredited investor to be able to get access to some of these types of assets on chain. And now, you know, we're starting to work towards different types of like KYC, or, you know, there's ZK teams who are working on DID that allow you to get closer to accessing certain assets. It's super sick. Like, I think this is how you get, you know, we talk about globalization a lot in the context of like, you know, financial systems. And this is actually really tangible, especially in Latin America, right? Like, you're looking at people who, you know, your currency is so volatile. How are you going to save any money ever, right? Like, I mean, you can now, you know, get paid in USDC, pay for your coffee in USDC, and then plug it into Aave. Earn a couple percentage points on top of your, I mean, I used to work at Aave, so I have a place in my heart for it.
No, they're huge. They're a huge protocol. They're one of my favorites too.
Aave.
But anywhere else, right? Like yield farm, whatever.
Yeah. Yield farm wherever. DeFi for all. Yield farm wherever.
Exactly.
What about you, Brett? What does DeFi for all mean for you? Because I know your handle, his handle is actually DeFi or die.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I'm a little militant about it. I got fired from Citibank because of it. But so for me, let's go LFG. So for me, I think that it's, you know, DeFi is amazing when you can get 250% APY from a cartoon character protocol of pancakes flying around in the sky. Even though it no longer provides that, that was an eye-opening experience for me in that, like, okay, this is an innovative space. Like, we are providing this yield. I watched it. I earned it, everything like that. So it worked for a while. So what happens when you do something like that and you just roll it over to the next project and the next project and the next project? That's another experiment. You worked at Aave, right? They came up with flash loans, right? That they have the whole reservoir you can pull flash loans for. We're working with an amazing company that uses that to stop hacks. So it's so interesting. You know, DeFi has brought all of this innovative technology and things that you just cannot do in traditional finance. A lot of it is trying to emulate traditional finance, and that's cool too, because they're sprinkling little gems here and there to kind of propel it forward in a different direction. So I just think it's an amazing space. And yeah, my handle is DeFi or die. I believe it to the death of me. And I think that it really it does serve under marginalized communities, like in Latin America specifically. I think that, what is it, Argentina, where you would go into, until recently, you would go into like a restaurant and you'd be like, cool, I can afford, you know, the steak here or a burger or whatever. And by the time you left the store, you were no longer able to afford what you ordered. Was it Venezuela?
Has extreme. I mean, there's a ton of volatile assets in Latin America, but Venezuela has wild inflation, which is why storing the store of value, just even the store of value, in stablecoins is like better than holding it in their cash, their localized cash, because it is just so volatile.
I think a project that's really like undervalued and not talked about as much, since we're talking about stablecoins, is Curve. I think Curve is a really interesting concept, right? It's a swap for stablecoins. Like how do we use that, right? Like in a creative and useful way. I mean, it in itself is. And then there's so much regulation coming down the pipeline about like stablecoins. So, I mean, it's a top of mind. So like, you know, DAI was such an interesting and innovative concept. I love that. I love it because it's controlled by the people. You mint it, right? It's for you. I remember there's that one dude, John McAfee. He ran McAfee. John McAfee. He was all about DAI. I remember him starting talking about DAI, like DAI is the revolution and the innovation, very early on. And then I started looking into it and I was like, wow, this really is cool.
Well, you know, that kind of like brings us into the conversation of stablecoins. And I know, Katya, we've talked a little bit about stablecoins and like the excitement around that and the possibilities that get opened up when people start looking at stablecoins more seriously. Like, obviously, we have USDC and USDT, and there are a number of others that are looking at stablecoins for their own local currency. I know you love stablecoins, so I'm just going to give you a moment to say your piece about what you love about stablecoins now.
Let's go. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think like part of the fun is exactly what you mentioned earlier. It's like regulation is coming out around stablecoins. And people don't really, there's still no clarity. There's no like exact way to launch a stablecoin. So all of these different teams are launching their own assets in their own jurisdictions with their own best guess on how this stablecoin race is going to play out. And they're all kind of playing regulatory arbitrage, right? Like, I don't see a world where
Facts.
there's going to be like 10,000 different stablecoins that all have like billions of dollars in adoption. There's going to be like a handful that really start to rise to the top. But some of them are going to mostly get shut down by regulators. But those who don't are going to rip. Like that's how you really grow adoption. It's been cool to see just how popular it's become. It's also tough for any bank to be looking at the crypto space who's been like, watching the space from a distance for years, doing maybe some testnet deployments by themselves in their like dark rooms and their private servers. They're seeing how much volume Tether is doing and how could they resist, right? Like, why wouldn't you launch a stablecoin right now, right? Like, if you could earn some bips on those transfers, it's a huge opportunity for you to start generating revenue. I love seeing all these institutions coming on board because it really validates the space. Actually, I'm curious to get both of your takes on this like separation of like pure crypto native, like DeFi native stablecoins versus and products versus these more institutional grade ones that have some KYC, have some permission, elements to them. But I think stablecoins are a really good environment where people are experimenting with both types. I just historically haven't seen too many strong like crypto native assets do well besides DAI. I guess USDS now. Go, I guess, is another good one. Athena stable is also pretty good, but typically they do end up being collateralized by, off-chain assets to some extent. But I'm curious, like, what's the purest take, right? Like, do we really go down this super DeFi native like rabbit hole? Do we go really purely crypto native, or do we have to find some sort of middle ground? It's a debate I have with myself all the time.
I think we talk a lot about it. I think I'll let Brett to go first, and then I'll pull it back in.
Yeah, I mean, so okay, this is where I'm split, right? This is where I'm split. I'm an American citizen, right? Obviously, like my livelihood and my family's livelihood and everything like that. The dollar being good is good for the people of my country and for my family. So having a 1-to-1 on a stable coin is really important, right? For certain ones like USDC and USDT. I think that's important, and I agree with that. But I don't think we should be stifling innovation and shutting off things like DAI because it doesn't have a reserve that's controlled by one of the powers that be, right? It's still controlled by the people. So yeah, me too, Katya. I have this inner dialogue with myself, going back and forth because, like I said, DeFi or die. But like, there's also like the aspect, the cypherpunk in me wants to make sure that there is always the ability for people to experiment in that space because that's what makes DeFi what it is. So that's kind of a like tortoise and the hare explanation.
Yeah.
That's, kind of like, it's almost like a political statement, but like, I don't know, like that's why I have this inner conflict sometimes with the space.
I think all of us,
what do you think?
I think all of us who have that original ethos do have that sort of like inner dialogue. But I think the thing that while I agree with both of these takes, I think the thing that I take solace in is that so long as we're able to continue DeFi in the way that it's operated in the past, do whatever, because we can always fork it. Like maybe I'm just an eternal optimist in the way that we're able to build, but because of the just simply the word permissionless in crypto, that excites me to the point where if something's not working, fork it and build something better. That's always my solution to like, oh, this sucks, I'm going to do something better.
Yeah,
but so long as we're not regulated to the point where we can still do stuff like that, I'm okay with some of these other like institutions adopting it, because ultimately I think it's going to open up a lot of doors for other people as well. It's like not just crazy investors are going to be excited about this, but these are going to open up assets to a world of people that maybe don't want to deal with a wallet and deal with all these other things, and like have it a little bit more abstracted and still have that benefit available to them. So long as we're allowed to continue, like the natives are allowed to continue to do their native thing, that's great. We can continue to like embrace institutional adoption so that it opens up more doors for people just getting on chain and having their assets on chain. Speaking of institutions and adoption and all of this, I wonder how, because I see Wormhole and Solana kind of like cozying up a lot more these days. And I know there's like the Solana ETF on the pipeline. So I wanted to know a little bit more about like the relationship between Wormhole and Solana and how the institutions actually have been looking at this more seriously. Because in the crypto space, you have two sides where people are very bullish on Solana for all of the many benefits that it provides. I'm personally bullish on Solana as well. But then there's this other side that people are like, oh, the culture of Solana is so bad. Like all of the meme coins ruined crypto and all of this stuff. So when an institution is looking at the landscape of this, or maybe they're not, you can let me know. But how are they embracing Solana? Or are they?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll say though that like Wormhole was built as the original bridge between Ethereum and Solana. So we have always been besties. Maybe hasn't been as public about it because, you know, we want to be for all and we support all the chains, but we've all got a soft spot in our hearts for Solana.
Yeah.
And so do the institutions, honestly. The meme coin thing is another one. It's another like internal debate I have. Damn, like it makes crypto look so bad. It makes us seem like we're full of scammers. You know, the Hawk Tua girl launched her token. Don't like, I wish she didn't, you know, like who told her? Like, you know, like I think we did a bad thing by like letting people like do all that and, you know, tarnish the good name of the space.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's like, is that kind of the point, right? Like I'm kind of surprised to hear that like people are disappointed in the Solana culture. I used to be like a mega ETH maxi. Like I love all the protocols that are being built there. I've heard about Solana. Obviously, you know, there's just a lot of like negative talk about Solana in the EVM ecosystem. But I think their like willingness to experiment, to like lean in when narratives come in and like people want to build certain things in their ecosystem. I think that's what's really driven a lot of their growth, right? Like that's why they've been able to do so well with meme coins. Is doesn't matter how I feel about it, people want it, people want to use it, they want to like speculate on it, they want to have fun, they want to, you know, mint their own meme coins and talk to their friends about it. And it's more of a social narrative than anything else. Like, and I think like they've been really open about it, and I think that's what's driven to a lot of their success. And then on the flip side, you would think that institutions would see that and be like, oh, people are losing money on Solana. No, it's real people want to use Solana. Real people talk about Solana. Real people know what it is, right? People don't know about what all these like different sequencers are, and maybe they don't even know about what Wormhole is, right? They don't care. It doesn't matter, right? Like they know that there's Hawk to a coin, or there's Bonk, or there's whatever, and it's cool, and like their friends are talking about it, and that's, you know, that's the wallet, Phantom's the wallet that they need to have to buy it. They can do it all within their application, and they can speculate and do whatever. And they don't need to KYC or do any of these really cumbersome activities to be able to get started. And I think that's been really compelling to institutions, because it's not just we now have to like adopt this new tech and we also have to make people care about it. This is tech that like people care about, and institutions are coming to meet their users where they are. That's why PayPal launched PYUSD to Solana first, right? Like they were ETH first because they, you know, value decentralization. They see the value in like the ecosystem that Ethereum has built, but they also understand that for payments use cases, for people using crypto to, you know, send money for dinner, Solana is going to be where that happens. And it's just, it kind of feels inevitable. All the institutions we talk to are super excited. BlackRock just announced that BUIDL is now live on Solana this week, right? Obviously, we're thrilled to be helping them reach these new ecosystems, but you know, just in how many conversations we've had over the past year, like Solana is being looked at very, very closely.
Well, it's built for institutions.
Yeah, well,
it's built
we
for
all
everyone.
Forget that. No, if you look at like the technology, was built. Maybe it wasn't built for it, but it was built with that in mind, very, very, very specifically. Yeah, no, go ahead, Jacq. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, just a note on the culture of Solana, because I have been going to the ecosystem calls for years, literally years now. People who don't know about Solana, like their actual ecosystem, the actual culture, the actual community, shit on them all day long. But the truth is that they are so united. Super Team has done an amazing job bringing people together, and it shows. It shows because they're united. Their community is so strong with Solana. Say what you will about how they express that, but they really do take care of everyone, right? In the ecosystem, they really do.
Yeah, and it's also people shit on the tech, right? Like people are always like, "Oh, it's slow. It's it goes down. Fix it." Like that's the whole thing with Toli and the rest of the Solana team. It's like something goes down and you think like you're going to complain about it, help us fix it, right? Like we see the same problems, we want to address it. It really is this community effort, which has been really super cool. Sorry, Brett, go ahead.
Yeah.
I
No, dude.
love Solana.
Yeah, no, I just echo that. I love Solana, and I love all the degenerate gambling that's happening on Solana.
Low key.
Again, the cypherpunk in me wants us to be able to mint coins wherever we want, launch them wherever we want, create money out of thin air as long as there's adoption, use it as a payment method to buy coffee if I want to. You know, we kind of lost that with Bitcoin. You know, we started treating it like property. You know, I think that was kind of
totally.
a mistake. You know, the peer-to-peer cash thing has kind of died. You know, the whole like the battle, the war between that, and you know, just as, so it's kind of unfortunate, but that spirit's still alive, right? That spirit's alive. It may only be 1/10 of the Solana meme coin space, but it's there. It's breathing. It's vibrant, right? The other 90% may just be crime coins. Okay.
Crime coins. Hey,
Okay.
you know what?
Right,
There's
whatever.
a couple out there.
Yeah, like I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, that's my take. I love Solana. I really do. I love the gradient. I love the gradient. I love their logo. So that's one thing. Let me rant for a second. It'll be a 10-second rant. I can't buy your coin if I don't like the icon. I can't do it. I won't do it. I've never done it. I just can't. When Ripple changed their icon, I had a really hard time buying it. I used to love it. So anyway, so yeah, make your icon good, guys.
No kidding. Maybe that's why I'm guessing then you farm a lot. Like you've got to be trading these shit coins because they are so good at graphics. Like that's
so
their one
good.
forte.
Yeah, they really are good at that.
No, and I love watching them pop out like in real time, and I'm like, ooh, another variation of a poop coin. Like,
yeah,
very innovative. It's poop with
That's how they
2
get
O's,
ya.
then 3, then 4.
then 5, then 6 with a squared after the second P. That's great. All right, the best one that I've ever heard, and I this is not a shill because it went down by 70%, is unicorn fart dust. I bring it up all the time, but it's
we
such
talked about
good
unicorn
name.
fart dust,
and it's just this. The icon is just so good. It's this cute little unicorn. It's just chilling. It's the cutest little thing. Yeah.
Okay, not a shill moment, but Katya, what's a coin that you were like either regretted buying or you had fun with, or just like any shitter in your portfolio that you were like have anything to say about?
I missed the what was it, Tromp, and what was it, Ewan Mux?
Bowden.
Dude,
Bowden and
I own so much Ewan Mux. No, and to this day, I wrote it up and I wrote it back down, and I'm holding it for the culture, you know?
Dude, I did the same thing with Pickle Rick.
Oh, those were fun. I missed that era. What was the other one? There's one I can't say on on this podcast.
There are a ton that I can't say as well.
There's a lot of stuff I can't say on this podcast. It's cool.
Yeah.
I'll tell you guys after. I'm still holding that bag. If you find my public wallet address, you'll see it in my account.
The slews are out now. Yeah.
I also had fun on Wish.
Okay.
Awesome.
That was a really like special cultural moment.
Me
for us all.
too.
My
Luckily
friend
I got out before it tanked, and then I bought a little bit more because I like it.
My friend's a really amazing meme coin trader that made so much money on Whiff and Turbo and Pepe. Like, bless his heart, because to get to that level, you got to really have a strong heart. Like, no arrhythmia, no heart conditions. Like, you got to have that.
Real. Pacemaker be damned.
Yeah, no pacemakers allowed on this DeFi ride.
Because like, what do you do with yourself, right? And then my parents are like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "Damn, like I hold Whiff, like dog Whiff hat. Like this is I make my money off of that." Yeah,
I cannot tell them
my
about
mom
these
thinks I work
things.
at Bitcoin.
My mom thinks I work at Bitcoin. My parents do not think they're just like, you work with developers, I think. I'm like, it's okay. You don't need to know about anything I do. Just know that it'll probably come into your life when it's ready and time.
My dad actually does use it though, and he does buy it. But it's just so. But the thing is he's like not in tune with the culture. So he bought Bonk when it was at the top, and he's just like,
No.
Like, what do you know? Like, are they going to come back? And I was like, Dad, I'm sorry, man. Like, I think he understands. He's like, I was like, this is the token for this protocol that does like X, Y, Z. This token powers this blockchain. Like, this is why it has like value. And he bought bonk, and I was just like, I don't know how to explain this one to you, man. Like, welcome to your first. You came a little too late.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome. Everybody's got one where they came in too late and they're like, oh, wait, I bought it at the top. Yeah. What do I have with this acid on my hands? I love that. I love that parents are getting into crypto because their kids work in crypto. And then they're like, oh, well, if they're like earning a living from it, maybe it's not so bad. And then they get wrecked. No, I'm just kidding.
No, my parents will never buy crypto. My mother has told me that repeatedly because she hates that I talk about this stuff incessantly.
Really?
Absolutely hates it. Maybe her buying Ripple at the top had something to do about it in 2017. The one blue chip coin that's never recovered. That actually, even though they have had the institutional pump, still hasn't recovered from that 2017 high. And maybe it's partly my fault because I told her to buy that instead of Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
mom's mad forever. Moms never forget.
It was $300. It was $300. It was $300.
Yeah, but she's still mad. She gave birth to you. She brought you into this world. She could take you out.
Yeah, well.
And how much Bitcoin would that be now, right? Like she must have seen the news because that hit mainstream media when they crossed 100.
Oh my God,
that'd be like 3,000. I think it would be at this time. I think it was around 10K at that time. I think
it's money.
See, that's significant, right? Where you're like, dang, okay, well, I could have made a lot more if I would have bought the right asset. But
there was
literally isn't that the story of all of us?
It was every other coin. If she had bought any other coin, she would have been fine. And it's my fault.
Well, that's okay. XRP Army, just keep on going.
And that wraps up the mom section of our show.
The mom section. Okay, so let's go back to Wormhole for a second because
definitely.
You are now the head of growth at Wormhole, which is amazing, and congrats. And what an amazing opportunity for you to like see through parts of your vision for crypto and DeFi in general, just in that regard. When you're expanding or looking to expand the ecosystem, how are you thinking about that expansion? Is there any sort of methodology, or you just like, come talk to me?
A little of both. My DMs are open. They're like, you never know what you don't know. So I'm always open to have conversations, especially when people have a differing opinion to interop than me. My thesis on interoperability has changed a lot over the last like 3 years, I would say. Especially when I was at Aave, I was really focused on getting portals live. Portals is their like cross-chain feature that was built in Aave. And I was doing all this research and talking to all the interop providers, which is actually how I ended up speaking to Wormhole for the first time. I had this vision of natively multi-chain apps where you could have your collateral on one chain and borrow against it. And, chain abstraction before it was even a narrative was the future on the protocol level. And I think just maybe I've lost a little bit of steam on it over the years and seeing how little adoption there's been for these types of protocols. I mean, Synonym is still, pushing along, and there are a few others that are iterating on this like original thesis. But when Wormhole put forward that original architecture for Venus to go cross-chain, it just like wasn't something that they wanted to do. And that's fair, right? I think multi-chain right now, for a protocol to be multi-chain today, you're basically just deploying your same protocol on multiple chains, calling it a day, right? And we're happy to service that, right? Like we're happy to help you get there. We're happy for you to be able to read state, using Wormhole queries on different chains and, start to have like a cool dashboard or whatever. But I think what becomes really compelling right now and where we're seeing the most amount of uptick in actual utility of interop is around asset issuance, right? Like if you are, the next natural conclusion for us right now is like if protocols don't want to operate multi-chain, they should still have their token expand and grow multi-chain. And those token holders across these different chains should still be able to participate in the governance of the protocol. Part of that is we're launching this product called MultiGov. It allows for cross-chain proposal creation and execution. So it's like if you have some DAOs have already experimented with this, Aave has their own hacky solution. Some others have built like beginning guardrails to be able to facilitate that. We're coming out with a more robust process because we know assets are growing multi-chain and we want to be able to support the decentralization and protocols in that purview. But yeah, we spend a lot of time talking to asset issuers, helping them think through cross-chain expansion. Everybody wants to be everywhere. All these chains are launching like every single day. How do you even come up with a multi-chain strategy, right? Like, how do you get everywhere you need to be? How do you, grant farm all these different ecosystems? It's, the opportunities are endless. And so, we're building tooling around that.
Well, that kind of leads me to like the idea of like informing clients, but also having clients inform you. Like, what's that back and forth like when you guys are coming up with features, coming up with solutions, coming up with what is actually needed, what the market's actually calling for? Like, what is that relationship with your clients in your ecosystem? How are they maybe informing products, or how are you letting them know how to use that? What's that relationship like?
Yeah, I mean, everything we do is in service of the people who are building with Wormhole. So Wormhole itself is just the general messaging protocol. You send an envelope of information to any chain that we support. You can include token information in that. You can have any arbitrary data that you want to send cross-chain. Like, that's all can be packaged, and you can use the core Wormhole bridge for that. Core Wormhole messaging, rather. The next iteration of Wormhole was Token Bridge, right? Then you can lock that token up on the source chain, mint a new version of it on the destination chain, but those assets are held on the other side and always redeemable one for one on the source chain. Then the next iteration was building native token transfers. People want to be able to own that stack. They want to have ownership over their interoperability contracts. They want to be able to maintain like modularity and like complete control over all the variables of how they take their tokens cross-chain. And so we built native token transfer framework. And in that way, you can remain with that standard mint and burn model, or lock and mint model. You can do mint and burn, and you can really customize how you go cross-chain. Then we started to see a huge adoption of that. People love to send tokens. They love to send meme coins wherever their preferred home is for trading. But then we're starting to build additional tooling around that too. So it's we built Wormhole queries because there are people who wanted to be able to have a cross-chain oracle. You want to be able to read state through like a pull based messaging system instead of exclusively push. And now we're building more and more tooling based on what our integrators tell us, right? So everything that we do is because we've thought about interop, but we're also working with people who are actually doing it. And so, whatever we can do to make their lives easier, whatever tools need to get built, we're happy to do that. If you want to launch a meme coin and that's your biggest issue and you don't want to have to go through like all the struggles of, setting up the parameters to do so, we built a launch pad for you. Go crazy, right? Like, you can set that up. You can set up ownership over that. You can configure all the parameters yourself. Go nuts, right? And as we, think about network expansion too, right? If BlackRock's like, hey, we want to go to Inc. Okay, sick, we'll do it. And that's really helped in like kind of refining our feedback process. I think, we build multi-chain products. We built multi-gov. We built NTT for ourselves. The W token uses NTT. But we want to continue to refine that feedback loop and bring it a lot tighter. And then part of what we do as well is we work with all these different integrators, and they all have their own specialties. We work with payment systems who like to use Wormhole settlement, which is our intent-based infrastructure. We work with stablecoins who want to be using payment ecosystems. We try to connect the dots wherever possible. So it's, and then it's like, okay, if you want to be used in this system, what's your biggest problem in getting live there, right? If you are a payments company, right, you want to be able to accept only USDC on base. You don't really care where the person who wants to purchase it has their assets, right? You just know that you need USDC on base. You should be able to allow your users within the UI to just be able to like pay with whatever they've got in their wallet and then have you like squared away at the end of it within, 5-10 seconds. You shouldn't have to wait like the standard, 30 minutes that it takes to bridge normally. And so, I'm kind of going in a loop again, but everything we do is in service of our integrators.
I love that. I love that because it's so necessary, so needed. And this is like a little sidebar question. Is Maker one of those multi-gov clients? Because I know they're doing their governance on Solana, but obviously they have a lot of native stuff on ETH as well. Are they taking
Governance?
advantage of the opportunity? Yeah.
Not governance yet. Would love to help them be able to extend the Sky token and their governance cross chain. But today, USDS, so the new version of DAI, is now live on Solana, powered by NT.
Sick. All right, cool. I knew that. I was like, I feel like there's a relationship there that I'm not aware of, so I'm glad that there was.
Yeah. No, everybody loves Solana. DeFi natives, institutions, everybody loves Solana.
Amazing. Are we ready?
I think we're ready.
Are we okay? All right.
I'm scared.
On every show, you should be. On every single show, we have a moment where we ask, what's your spiciest take? And we need spicy, like Cajun jambalaya spicy.
We need that Latin America spicy.
Yeah, I've got a really, really spicy one. I'll start with my more jalapeno level. One I think is like,
we can work up to ghost pepper.
I'll work up my confidence on it to call out.
All right.
It's more of a call out, actually. One, I think interop isn't solved. I don't know where crypto Twitter got this idea that interop is solved. I see it all over my timeline. What are you talking about? If it was solved, we wouldn't be suffering right now. Like, you wouldn't have to wait and sit. Like, we're working on it. Believe me, we're working on it. But that's why I have a job right now, is because interop isn't solved. I think it's a really poor take. And I think part of that leads into my really, really spicy take. And my really, really spicy take is that the way that people think interop is solved is by launching a 2 of 2 multi-sig on a chain and considering that to be secure and endgame for interop. That's a bad take. Like, that is just stupid and dangerous and really, really reckless. And that's why I think, like, you know, saying that interop is solved because that's what's easily accessible today is just, it's really bad form, I think, for the industry. I take a lot of pride in the way that, like, we have our security system set up for Wormhole. Wormhole Guardians are best in class. Like, it's what BlackRock uses. It's what Apollo uses. Like, all of these teams have done their own diligence on us, and Uniswap uses us and approved us unilaterally for use of their governance. Like, that is how it needs to be. You need to have a secure system for you to be able to transfer your assets. I think right now, like, people are getting really comfortable with assuming a ton of risk in security. People say that decentralization doesn't really matter so long as the user experience is good enough. That's a bad take.
Agreed.
It's super dangerous. And I think it's okay, maybe for now, while it's, you know, we're all okay with chewing glass and we're all innovating faster than the speed of light. But if we want to be serious people and taken seriously, it doesn't fly anymore. Especially if you want real institutional money on chain. You want your grandma using, you know, USDC that's secured by like 2 people. Like, who are those people? It's me in a trench coat and me with the top hat. Like, that's not, I think security wasn't sexy. It's coming back though.
Security's always been sexy in certain regards, but I think we still need to further that along. No, that's good. Okay, so also one of the other things that I remember very distinctly in my mind at that Cancun trip was that you were like, I'm an interop girly. I've always been an interop girly. And I think that's like watching your journey from Aave, going amazing things with Wormhole. Like, you have always been who you said you are and have always worked towards this goal. And I really admire that and just want to shout that out.
Appreciate that. I think everybody's an interop girly, you know? If you're talking about Solana or we're talking about Ethereum, by nature, you have to care about interop to some extent, right? It impacts you.
Totally.
Yeah,
no, but I totally agree.
Including you, Brett. Well, an interop girly.
No, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. Like, Jacq, you're an infra girly.
I am.
Katya, you're an interop girly. I was like, what kind of girly can I be?
You can be all the girlies you want to be.
All the girlies? All right, let's go.
Yeah, you're the DeFi girly. You're the DeFi or die girly.
The DeFi or die girly. All right.
No, but you're right. We're all interop girlies on the inside because no one is really, I'm only on one chain. Everybody, especially the early adopters, everyone's trying everything on all these new test nets, all these new main nets coming live. Like, we're all seeking that because for me, the idea of the TCP moment for blockchain where we all kind of connection cross, like that's the unlock. That's what I want to see, and that's what we're working towards. I agree, we're not there yet. We're not even really as close as we'd like to be, but we're still kind of like working towards that future. And yeah, we're all interop girlies on the inside.
Exactly. It's important. Like, you really can't think about the crypto space unless you're really like, I am an OP purist. Like, I will only ever touch OP. Even with an OP now, they're like, we need super chain interop, right? Like, it's also, it always comes back to how can you get your tokens to where you want them, and how can you make sure that they're secure?
I love that. Yep.
Why don't you tell them where they can find you, Katya?
I am everywhere that you can find me. I am, I'm on Farcaster. I'm on Twitter. On both of those, I'm 0x Katya. I'm on LinkedIn with a very old headshot. My hair has doubled in length since then, but I'm Katya Ternopolska there. And then my DMs are always open. So if you can't reach me through my socials, you can definitely reach me through the Wormhole contact page. I'm always checking that.
Amazing. And we'll link that at the bottom as well, so people can find you more easily, and hopefully your DMs won't blow up. Or maybe they will.
Amazing.
Either way, good problem. Yeah.
Guys, thank you for joining. This has been another episode of Cryptocurrents. I'm Brett Lindstrom here with Jacq, Vaca, Katya. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, we've got a guest. So you're calling me Big Dog.
Awesome.
This is the big cat behind.
This is Big Cat. Let's go.
Oh my God.
Dude, she puked on
she
puked twice during the podcast.
Oh, I love that.
Be looking up.
That's amazing.
Concerned. You know when they do like the whole body moves like this?
Yeah. That's funny. That's super funny.
It was like, do I break it and say something? I gotta go clean it up.
That would have been great.
You're talking about institutional adoption while your cat is vomiting.
She's sick of hearing about, permissioned DeFi. She's a cypherpunk to her core. Right?
Cypherpunk kitty, I love it.